that to Canvas also, so if you are ever absent, you can go back and watch it, or if you just want, have a question about something I said, you can go back and watch it. But sometimes, like the first note today, I forget to record, so hopefully I will not. So you do not have to have common denominators. To add or subtract, which we're going to talk about tomorrow more because it's harder, you have to have common denominators. So you cannot add 1/2 and 3/4 together unless you do some work first. You can multiply 1/2 and 3/4 together. So to multiply, you just multiply straight across. Multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. Okay. So if I want to multiply 2/3 times 5/7, I just do 2 times 5 is 10, and 3 times 7 is 21. You're going to reduce if possible, but is it possible to reduce for that one? It is not. That is our answer. For number 2, same thing. Multiply straight across. 4 times 10 is 40. 5 times 7 is 35. Now, in this case, is it possible to reduce? Yes. So what could I divide both of those by? 5. So if I divide by 5 on top and bottom, 40 divided by 5 is going to give me 8. 35 divided by 5 is 7, so I get 8/7. Okay, questions? All right. Now, a trick I want to show you. You can reduce before you multiply. You do not have to, but you can. So if I'm trying to do this, 2 ninths times 18 over 22, 2 times 18 and 9 times 22 are not multiplication tables that I know. So I'm going to have to do that over to the side. And then that's going to give me big numbers that I'm probably going to have to reduce. So I like to reduce before I multiply if I have really large numbers. So you can look at each fraction to see if they will reduce. 18 and 22 will reduce. Or you can reduce any number on the top with any number on the bottom. So, for example, 2 and 22, what can we divide both of those numbers by? 2 and 22 are both divisible by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 22 divided by 2 is 11. What about 9 and 18? Is there a number I could divide both of those by? 2 won't go into 9. 9 will go into both of them there, right? So I could divide by 9 here. 9 divided by 9 is 1. 18 divided by 9 is 2. Okay? It makes it so much easier because now that I have reduced, I just multiply the top numbers. 1 times 2 is going to give me 2. And multiply the bottom numbers. 1 times 11 is going to give me 11. You don't have to do it that way. You can multiply and then reduce. It's just that you're not going to have a calculator, so it makes it a little bit easier to deal with there. This one is easier to deal with just multiplying straight across than the one that we just did, but you can still reduce here. So if I look at 2 and 8, what can I divide 2 and 8 by? 2. So 2 divided by 2 would be 1. 8 divided by 2 would be 4. And then 5 and 15 can both be divided by 5. So 15 divided by 5 would be 3. And 5 divided by 5 would be 1. And so if I multiply straight across, I'd get 3/4. It keeps you from having to reduce at the end most of the time. But you don't have to do it that way. You could have done this one like this, 30 divided by 40, and then 30 divided by 40 is 3/4. That's really not that difficult either. It's just really when you get big numbers, it's kind of hard to do. All right, questions on multiplying? All right, this is a phrase I probably say more often than really any other phrase that I say. all day long. So, dividing fractions, it's easy as pie. Flip the second and multiply. You'll probably hear it lots of times. I'll ask you. Now, if you want to be fancy, because sometimes we like to be fancy, we can also use the phrase multiply by the, there is a fancy word for flip. It starts with an R. Reciprocal. We can multiply by the reciprocal. So, if you really want to be fancy, you can say that. So, the way that's going to look is we leave the first fraction exactly the same. 5, 6 stays the same. I change the division sign to a multiplication sign. And then I'm going to flip this and I'll get 3 over 2. Hello? Yes. 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 Yeah. Okay, thank you. You're welcome for that. All right. Okay. So once we flip, we're just multiplying straight across. So 5 times 3 is going to give us 15. 6 times 2 is 12. And will that reduce? It will. What will go into both of them? 3. So I will get 5 over 4 if I divide both of those by 3. And I could have simplified this before I multiplied. There, I could have reduced that 3 and 6. Okay, whenever it's written like this, and you'll see it written like this pretty often, we use fractions instead of division signs a lot. We'll have 1/5. And then the bottom fraction is your second fraction. So that's the one you're going to flip. You'll get 7 over 10. So if we multiply straight across, we get 7 over 50. And that will not reduce. Okay. Questions? You guys remember those rules? So we have 6 minutes until the bell rings. So you guys, I told you not to put your computers all the way down. Either if you didn't get that first assignment finished, go ahead and finish it. And then use what time you can. It's called classwork, but it's actually going to be homework because I moved things around a little bit. And I need to change the date on it. But this one here that says multiplying and dividing fractions on Delta Math, you're also going to do it. Let's see. If everybody works good until 3:08, then I will cut it back to just 10 questions instead of 15. Okay? So, everybody do a couple problems. I know it's not long, but we want to use as much of our time as we can on actual schoolwork here. So, everybody do a few problems. Get a couple done. And this will be your homework. You'll finish before you go. A few of you. Let's see, Evan, you are done, so you can pack up. But otherwise, and Kaylee, it looks like you were done. So if you finish all the way, I can see that up here. You can pack up and get your phone. But otherwise. It's 3:08. If you would like, you may pack up. If you are a bus rider, you are supposed to stay in class after the bell rings. Yesterday, I think we had some bus riders sneaking out before they were supposed to. Also, if you're like almost done and just want to stay a minute to finish it, that's fine too, as well. But you may pack up. Thank you for your cooperation. I'm going to reduce the number of questions you have to do to make it only 10. Some of you have already done the 15, so that's fine too. And if you didn't get that first one done that we were working on earlier, most of you finished that, but if you didn't finish that, you can do that tonight as well. As far as I know, we do not have a meeting tomorrow, so I should be up here in the morning. If you've got questions on any of it, bring it by, and you can work on it up here. You're welcome. All right. Car riders may go. Bus riders are supposed to stay here. Yesterday it was like 3:25 when they finally called for bus riders, but that should be getting earlier as they get the bus routes back down there. Yeah, it just fits. Really? Yeah, so you can just hang out. If you're a bus rider, you can just hang out in here till. Yeah, it might rain. And where y'all are at the park and don't have anywhere to go if it does storm is probably. You're thinking they were going to run you to death?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Okay. A long day, Lanaya. It's hard to get back into. Yeah, I'm not sure. I do not make the rules on that one, so I'm not sure.
I've not heard a single good explanation for why I was crowd control.
It definitely was crowd control. Like, it definitely started when they did the COVID stuff. There is a chance they just don't want, like, lots of kids out there at the student parking lot as all those crazy student drivers are leaving. And safety issues, that might be what they have in mind, maybe. I'm not sure. But you get a chance to hang out here with me for a little while. So, it's great fun. Or they could, like, at least let you go, like, well, it's probably supervision to, like, so they don't have to, like, they could let you go to the lobby or somewhere like that. Just hang out till. Yours. Aren't you so cool that you have a phone? He shouldn't have a phone. Really?
That's partially my choice because I know that I'll lose it.
Yeah. I'm worried about that with him too.
There's still ice in it.
Those bottles keep it.
I've only lived that 3 months with Cat.
Huh?
I've only lived that 3 months with Cat.
Think you can make it? Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm a little worried about him and that one. Oh,